great about that, other than trying to help people who are in a state of invasion.
Welcome back to the Immigration Answer Show. My name is Jim Hacking. Today is Friday, February 7th, episode 757. We are a big jet airliner, episode 757. How's everybody doing? Trying to go live on TikTok. Let's try it one more time. I'll be here for the next hour. This is our last show of the week. So if you want to ask me a question, come on into the waiting room. Remember, if you're in the waiting room and you ask Jim, ask me first or pick me, please don't do that because I won't pick you. All right. How's everybody doing? How's your week? Good to see everybody. You know, I don't usually answer questions from the chat in YouTube. If you want to ask me a question, you got to come into the waiting room on YouTube. All right, let's get started. We're going to dive right in because we only have an hour. I got to go to Friday prayer. All right. Arlette, hello.
Hi, Jim. Can you hear me?
I hear you just fine. Go right ahead.
All right. Thank you so much for taking my call. So I'm going to jump right into it. I had applied for DACA in 2021. And a few months later in that same year, they had stopped processing documents. So that is out of my reach. I have for DACA and for my employment authorization. So fast forward, I am in a 3+ relationship. Haven't been married yet, but we are planning to get married. He is a U.S. citizen. I was wondering if, because we do have a long, relationship, how soon will I be able to apply for a green card-based marriage?
So the big question, so just to be clear, you've never had DACA, right?
No.
So how did you enter the United States?
I entered without inspection.
Okay, so this is the process, and this is how it goes. So your spouse, you can't file an I-130 and a 485 together. You have to file them separately because you entered without inspection, okay?
Okay.
So your spouse files the I-130 petition, and that's going to take 12 to 14 months to get approved. Then after that, you're going to have to apply for an I-601A waiver. You have no crimes or anything, no multiple entries or anything into the United States?
No.
Okay, so then you're going to have to file for an I-601A waiver, which says, I am here in the United States, and it would be an extreme hardship for my spouse if I am not allowed to stay in the United States. What country are you from?
Mexico.
So you'd have to prove that if you got deported back to Mexico, that your spouse would suffer some extreme hardship, like they have major health issues that you help them take care of, that they have major financial issues that you help them take care of, or that they have psychological issues or some other reason why, besides just the fact that you get deported, that they need you here in the United States. Then if that gets approved, then you'd have to go back to Mexico and consular process, all with the fear of Trump's administration screwing you over at the State Department and keeping you in Mexico.
Okay. And it'd be also prudent, because I need to work too as well, and I know the process probably takes longer. Would it be prudent to apply for the I-765?
You can't apply for the 765. That goes along with the green card. All you can file right now, once you get married, is the I-130. What happened to your DACA case? Did they receipt it and then it got frozen by the courts, or did they reject it?
They just received it.
So did you get fingerprinted?
No, I didn't get a biometrics appointment.
Have you ever applied for any other immigration benefit? And is there any other way that USCIS knows that you're here?
No, this is the only thing I filed with USCIS.
So I think there's a serious argument to not do anything and to not apply.
To not apply for
Anything.
anything.
As of right now, they barely know that you're here. If you file an
Okay.
I-130 petition, then you have to list your address in the United States, and they might start deportation proceedings against you.
Okay.
Why didn't you apply for DACA earlier?
For the same, well, my family convinced me not to do it, and then I wanted to get into a career path like medical, and I just needed something like help me get like those scholarships and things, benefits like that. But it was really last minute. Yeah.
That was a huge mistake, because you could have been on a path to get a green card by now.
Mhm.
Now is sort of like the worst time to try to raise your hand and get things started. I mean, arguably they know you're here because you applied for DACA and it never went anywhere, or arguably you might come into contact with law enforcement. So there's an argument to go ahead and get started, but it's much more risky than it was before.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that's all I have to ask, and I'll probably have to wait. Do you think if I do start the process, would it be prudent to get an attorney?
Of course.
Yes. Okay. All right.
Lots of reasons. Thanks, Arlette. Yeah, we'd be happy to help. Just let us know, okay?
All right. Thank you so much, Jim.
Okay, bye-bye. Yeah, so that's the conversation we're having with a lot of people right now, which is, USCIS, ICE doesn't necessarily know that you're here. And if you don't have a strong waiver case, if your spouse would just be like everybody else having a spouse that gets deported, that might not be the best time to get started because of Trump and the fact that they're going to try to deport as many people as they can. Lynn is here. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well. How are you doing?
I'm good. This is a loaded question here. So I have say for instance, a spouse comes in on a K-1 visa, they get married, submit adjustment of status as of like last September. If the wife sends a request to withdraw the affidavit of support due to the husband's infidelity and attach screenshots of the evidence along with it, if they reconcile and she sends a request to rescind the request to withdraw the affidavit of support along with a new affidavit and proof of income, since they hadn't come to a decision yet, will it be considered? And if so, or if not, would it be best to just start the process over and reapply? And if so, would the chances be better if he reapplied with a new sponsor?
With a new sponsor? What do you mean a new sponsor?
Like with someone else, or like would the chances be better if he did reapply for the adjustment of status, like maybe once it's denied or maybe while it's still open, just open a new case, and then like would the chances be better of him getting an approval if he has a new sponsor versus
You mean a new spouse?
No, just a new, like his brother.
Okay, so I hear a side character here over on the side, but so let me get this straight. So in this hypothetical situation, a U.S. citizen files an I-129F petition for her fiance. The fiance comes to the United States, and then the U.S. citizen files the beneficiary files an I-45 based on their having gone ahead and gotten married to the U.S. citizen, and now they want to adjust their status. And then while that's pending, the citizen gets mad at the beneficiary because they find out that he's cheating on them, and then they send proof of cheating to USCIS and say, I want to withdraw my sponsorship on the affidavit of support.
That is correct.
So here's the big problem. USCIS will treat that as an actual withdrawal, but they might sit on it for a year and a half just to see what happens and see if the guy can get into trouble, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would suggest, number one, I mean, here's the question. What's going to be the answer to why is this person going forward again with the case if the husband is cheating on her?
Well, they've reconciled and they went through counseling and they're going through counseling and they are committed to their relationship. They want to make it work.
Well,
So
sure he is, because he wants a green card. And the only way someone who comes on a K-1 can get a green card is through that original spouse. So the beneficiary is sort of stuck with the U.S. citizen. That's the only way they can get a green card. They can't get a green card by marrying somebody else. They can't get a green card through employment. They can only get it through the spouse. So USCIS is going to be super suspicious of the motives of the cheating spouse.
So let me ask.
So case number one is dead. And if the plan is to go ahead and proceed with case number two, they're going to need a hell of a lot of work to get ready for the interview, to explain what happened, to document that they've made efforts to reconcile. But in the back of USCIS's mind, they're always going to think this marriage is fake. He's just marrying her to get a green card. And the person that he really loves is the person that he cheated with, not this citizen who's sponsoring them for a green card.
Well, okay, so that's not necessarily the case, because she found out that it was, he didn't actually do anything physically. But even so, what I wanted to know is, is there a certain amount of time that needs to pass before they reapply, or do they need to wait on a denial first?
Well, so again, I would not do that. I would not wait until it gets denied, because it might take a year and a half to deny. I would withdraw it and start over. But getting back to your question, I mean, first of all, I want to make sure that you understand what I said, that fiance cases are different, right?
Uh-huh.
Fiance cases have this one rule that nobody else has, which is if you come on a fiance case and you want to get a green card, you can only get it through the person that sponsored you for the fiance case.
Okay.
So that means that they think you are extra vulnerable to somebody taking advantage of you by cheating on you and just trying to get the green card. Does that make sense?
Right. But what
I want to make sure you understand that before we keep going. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So that being said, I would withdraw if you're intent on going forward with this. I mean, first of all, I would say that you and he need a lot of practice, and you need practice getting beat up for what he did. Does that make sense? Right. So you need to act like what is it going to be like when we go into that office and on case number 2, and the officer has these screenshots and whatever else proof that the U.S. citizen sent in demonstrating the infidelity. And how believable are you going to be when they then turn around and say, oh, well, nothing physical happened? Like, they're not going to believe that. They're going to think that this guy came to, what country is this guy from?
Nigeria.
Oh, come on, dude. This is going to be a tough case. And in answer to your initial question about whether they have a different sponsor, that's like the least of the problems with this case, right? So the U.S. citizen has to be the primary sponsor on case number 2. You can have a co-sponsor, but that has no impact on the approvability of the case. That's just money. That's not anything about the merits of the case, or like they're going to go easier on him if he has a different affidavit of support sponsor. Does that make sense?
Yes, I understand. So if we start over, if they start over and reapply,
what are the chances of success? 10%. This is a bell that can't be unrung. The USCIS has proof provided by the U.S. citizen spouse that the beneficiary is a philanderer and a liar. That's all they need.
So what do you think the best course of action should be besides withdrawing in regards to trying to get him so they can be together?
I would say that continue counseling, get a lawyer who knows what they're doing to beat the shit out of him verbally and practice over practice over practice. Like, this is what your interview is going to be like, beneficiary. You're going to get the crap kicked out of you because of what you did and because you're going to be racially profiled having been from Nigeria. And to me, in these situations, Lynn, it always comes down to the U.S. citizen. How's the U.S. citizen going to perform? They're going to assume that the man from Nigeria or the beneficiary, wherever he's from, they're going to assume that he's going to say all the right things, right? They're going to assume that he'll say whatever he has to say to get a green card. So then it all comes down to, when we separate out the U.S. citizen from the petitioner or from the beneficiary and in that interview room, one, they sure as hell better have a lawyer in there with them, the U.S. citizen, and it all comes down to me, how's the U.S. citizen going to perform? Because they will view it as they're looking out for you more than you're looking out for yourself. So you're going to have to be tough. The U.S. citizen is going to have to be tough as nails to overcome what's happened so far.
Okay, so when you're, say for instance, when you reapply and you have to show proof of, rehabilitation, whatever that may be, like, counseling or, statements or whatever, like, we're just
all of it. You're going to need statements from family members that know about the infidelity, that say they're back together, it's stronger than ever, from a counselor, from a pastor. Like, you're going to need a ton of extra evidence to show that, like, rehabilitation, that's not the word I would have thought, but that's actually the perfect word. The word you use is actually the perfect word. Rehabilitation. Like, in their mind he's out there committing immigration fraud. So you have to walk them all the way back from that.
Okay. And as far as the if his medicals are 8 months old from his country, would he still be able to use those?
We're telling everybody on fiance cases that come and adjust that if you want to make sure your case goes faster, redo your medical. But again, Lynn, this is the least of your concerns.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So if I'm the Lynn person in this scenario, I'm thinking long and hard. Do I want to spend the next 2 or 3 years fighting for this when this guy did me wrong? Like, I'd be giving that and luckily, side character is not talking to me. You're talking to me, and I'm proud of you for being willing to talk to me. And he's sitting over there whispering questions, I think, is cap. But in any event, I'm not a big fan of his right now, right? I'm just not. And so I care more about you, and I want you to go into this with eyes wide open, because this is not going to be easy. And most likely what you're looking forward to is 2.5, 3 years of fighting with USCIS and him ending up in removal anyway. That's what's most likely is going to happen. So if you're going to do all that, I want you to do it with your eyes wide open.
Okay. So, I don't know. So, okay. So at this point, if there's application to reapply, should it be should there be a certain amount of time to wait before you submit it in order to keep, like, his the other documents, like the work documents? And
that's all over. This case is, as soon as you withdraw it, that's over. What I would do is I would leave that case pending. I would leave the old case pending, get the new case as ready as I can be, so that I withdraw and refile all at the same time.
Okay. Can we contact you?
You can, if you take my advice seriously in what I said. I want you to spend some time on your own. Maybe you talk to a counselor not the joint counselor by yourself. You talk to your family about whether or not you really want to do this. And then if all that is true, then reach out to us. But I want you to really sit with this for a while, and maybe watch this recording again. Because what I'm saying is, even if my law firm did the best job possible to rehabilitate him, as you said, which is such a great word, and is probably the word I'm going to use from now on, even if we all do the best job possible, he goes to therapy, you go to therapy, we document the crap out of all the efforts to bring it back. This is a bell that can't be unrung, and they have evidence from you, directly from you, that that he cheated on you, maybe not physically, but that he cheated on you, and they're just going to sit on the case or let it sit, and then deny it and send them to deportation.
Okay.
Thanks, Lynn.
Thank you.
Good luck. Wow, that was tough. She was right. She said this is a loaded question. And of course, we've had those scenarios before. And I always advise people, that you got to be really careful before you send stuff like that to USCIS. You got to make really sure. And I know people get mad, and I know there's fights, and we've had situations where people call our office. We're representing the two spouses, the U.S. citizen and the beneficiary, and one of them's mad and wanting to end the thing, and the other one wants to figure out, how do I stay here without this marriage? And I would say we almost always wait 24 or 48 hours even before talking to them to let things calm down, because people withdraw that stuff and regret it all the time. I can't tell if that's Phi or FL. Hello.
Hey Jim, can you hear me?
I am right here.
Awesome, Jim. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. Thanks for asking. How are you doing? It's Friday.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, happy Friday. So, we spoke like maybe a couple months ago, maybe over a year now, about my case. I am not a U.S. citizen. I am a green card holder. I am married to a U.S. citizen since 2017. I got my green card in 2018. So I qualified for naturalization in 2021, I believe, in 3 years
Okay.
after 2018. Um, the issue was that I mistakenly registered to vote. And now, with all this craziness going on right now, I am not sure if I should apply to naturalization or not.
So have you ever applied for naturalization?
No, I haven't.
And you're eligible now.
Yes.
How did you accidentally register to vote? Because I know that certainly that happens.
Yeah, so my wife, who is a US citizen, still
Mhm.
wanted to register to vote, so she took me, like I went with her to this like government building, school, whatever. So I
Actually,
fill out a
actually,
form.
actually, actually, sorry. I think that is important. What government building? Like, I need to know the details of it so that we can talk about what to undo. Do you, do
It
you,
is, I honestly don't remember that it was back in 2018. I just remember that it was like like a local government office, something like that.
and
It,
how
it,
long was that before? Was that before or after you had your green card?
it was like a month after I got my green card.
So you get your green card. Your wife says, "Let's go down to the government building. I'm going to register."
Yeah.
And then, so what
And
happened?
then so the mistake that happened was that she told me, "Oh, you are now a permanent resident. You can register to vote." So I
Your
listened to her,
your wife?
and yes.
You,
So I listened to her. Like obviously she didn't know, I didn't know either. So
sure.
she told me, and like we were there on the line, and then we fill out the form. And like my gut was telling me that, I was doing something wrong. Like I just wanted to, like after we left the building, I did some research. I wanted to, just to make sure that I didn't do anything wrong. And sure thing, like I first thing that I read was, you should never have done this. So I called the number of the government office. They told me that they had my card, and that they were just not going to submit it, or yeah, to file it. But they never did. So a week later, I got my voter's ID in the mail. And
Then what did you do?
after that, I mailed it back to them saying that I was not a US citizen, that I needed my ID canceled.
Do you have proof of that?
And yes.
Good.
And then a week later, they sent me a letter saying that so your ID is basically canceled because you're not you're not an eligible voter.
Perfect. That's the exact scenario where it's okay to apply for citizenship. It's called
So
a timely retraction. A timely retraction. And you know what I was worried is you were going to say, Jim, this all happened and I still haven't dealt with it. But if you've dealt with it and documented it, and biggest and most important, never used the registration, right? Never voted.
yeah,
Then
never voted, nothing.
I would probably file with an attorney, but it's an approvable case.
Okay. So the thing is that like you're not the first lawyer that I've spoken to. I've spoken with like 3 or 4, but one of them told me don't apply. Like it's too risky.
Yeah.
And your case is very ambiguous because you fill out a form, you sign it, and then like you got your ID, your voter's ID. So
Yeah.
you actually completed the process of registering to vote. So your case is very ambiguous.
Nah, I don't think so. I don't think it's that black and white. Now, when did you become eligible to register to file for citizenship?
In 2021,
Yeah. So, what I would say is, I would have been more comfortable if we had done it back in 2021 than I am right now. So maybe wait a little bit, but
Mhm.
keep that documentation that you withdrew it. I think you could apply now, but it might not be the best time to do it. Just let things settle down and maybe wait for the next Democratic administration if we ever have one of those again.
Okay.
But yeah,
So would you say wait another 4 years to
I
file
would.
the
I'd file that
naturalization?
thing. I'd file that thing right now. I wouldn't wait.
Okay. Okay. All right. Just want to hear your opinion on that.
All right. Good luck.
All right. Thank you.
See ya. All right. All right. We are live on TikTok. We are live on YouTube. It's good to be here. It's Friday. We're talking about immigration. Hina's got a couple questions for me. So L asks on TikTok, can I fix my status if I claimed on I-9 but was changed 4 months after? So I would imagine that's claimed that I was a citizen on my I-9 but was changed 4 months after. That depends on what proof you have and whether you got the job because you claimed your citizenship. That's a little bit trickier. Bhutanese, I was still my tourist visa available if I marry U.S. citizen. Is it possible to get my green card? I was still my tourist visa available. I think they mean I was still on my tourist visa. If I marry a U.S. citizen, is it possible to get my green card? Yes, that is possible, but you're going to need to prove that you didn't have immigrant intent when you came on your tourist visa. That's going to be the big part of that case, Bhutanese. All right, let's go to Truth Hurts. Hello.
Hi, Jim. Thank you for taking my call. I would ask how you are, but you already told us you're okay. So that's good. So my question is, hold on, I actually have a screenshot. I'm sorry, trying to hurry.
It's okay.
Okay, so my wife just got approved for her social, her work permit, and she just got her state ID in the mail. I think I heard you say it's okay to travel stateside, but not, of course, to her home country right now. And then I heard you say 'cause we've been married since 2021, so I know with the 3-year rule, the rule to prove up our marriage, for her to apply for her, we already applied for the green card and they reviewed it 31 days ago when we looked. So as far as her like citizenship goes, she could. I know you said to prove up on a show I watched of yours before with the 751. But I think her question was like because she's in good status, I suppose that's what she calls it. Is it okay for her to travel stateside?
So when did she come to the United States? What's her first name?
Avalon.
Avalon. When did she first come to the United States?
Avalon came in 2020. So right when her borders closed. So I want to say oh gosh, when was it? May or March of 2020.
Okay. And
And
what kind of a visa did she have?
she had a visitor's visa when she got here.
And when you got married, was she still in status, or had her status expired?
So we applied for the extension, and then once they approved the extension, the date that they gave us on the extension was expired.
You mean the extension of the visit visa?
Yes.
So, in other words, she applied for her green card more than 6 months after she arrived.
We just applied for the green card when we got the approval, when she got her social card. She got her social card just recently, like not even 2 months ago. And when
Wait,
she got her,
time out.
oh,
You're,
sorry.
you're jumping ahead too much.
Okay.
When did you get married?
We got married in June of 2021.
So when did you file the I-130 petition and the I-45 for Avalon?
Yes. Yes.
When?
So we applied, it's been 2.5 years because she just got approved for it. So we got married in June and we applied in August. So August of 2021 is when we applied, but she just got the approval.
Okay. So she just got the initial green card, the 2-year, and she got a 10-year green card because you've been married more than 2 years, right?
No, she doesn't have the green card yet. When we checked the website, it says that they're reviewing it. She just got her social card and her work permit, which I think is called an EAD.
Okay. So you have an I-130 and a 45 that's been pending since 2021.
Her I-130 was approved.
You filed the I-130 separately from the 485?
Yes, because we didn't have the finances to apply for both.
Okay.
But
So
then, sorry.
that messes them up. When you do that, that messes them up. Okay.
Okay,
So did you file the 45 after the I-130 was approved or before the I-130 was approved?
after.
Okay. So when did they approve the I-130? Thank you, Amra. When did they approve the I-130 and when did you file the 485?
They approved the I-130 in November of 2024.
Okay.
And then we received her social card 4 days before.
I don't care about the EAD. I don't care about the social card. I don't care about any of that stuff.
Okay,
So did you get a receipt notice back on the 480? You must have if you got the
yes,
EAD. Okay.
yes,
So they know she's here in the United States.
yes,
Okay. So you were asking me about travel.
yes, I know. I know
So
she can't travel internationally, but
well, I want to explain something to you, okay?
okay,
So because you filed the I-130 and the 45 separately,
mhm,
then when you filed for adjustment, she was way out of status. She was many years out of status, right?
yes,
So if I had a magic wand and we could go back in time, I would have had us apply for the I-130 and the 45 in that first 6 months after she arrived, okay? But that didn't happen, okay?
okay,
So now I have someone with a approved I-130, a pending green card application, and an EAD, and you're asking me, is it safe for that person to travel within the United States?
yes, sir.
I would say yes, but I'd prefer that they don't,
Okay,
if that makes sense.
it does.
Um,
So
you
if they
submitted,
do approve her
you,
green
submit,
card,
you submitted the medical and the affidavit of support and everything with the 485.
yes, she got her biometrics. We sent in our tax documents, the financials, and everything like that. So, because they approved the 485, it's just the green card is the only thing that is pending when we look on the website right now.
When does the portal say the 485 was approved?
November of 2024.
And you still don't have it in your hand?
We no, we don't have it yet.
Have you moved at all since you filed either the I-130 or the 485?
No, we've been in the same place for 3 years.
That's good. Has the website ever said that the card is being produced or the card is on its way?
No. I
Okay,
can
so
check today though, because
I
they've
would
been
start
updating
I
really
would start
quickly.
I would start calling and bothering the shit out of them. It shouldn't take 3 months for them to print the green card. I would start bothering them for the actual green card.
Okay.
Now, you had raised something about citizenship, okay? She won't be able to apply for citizenship until she's been married to you for at least 3 years, which is true already, and has had her green card for 3 years. So it's actually 3 years from the start of her green card, not just because you guys were married for 3 years. Does that make sense?
Oh, it does. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure. I wouldn't want you to file that N-400 and have them receipt it and then you lose the money. It's got to be both. You got to have the marriage to a U.S. citizen for 3 years and the actual green card for 3 years.
Oh, wow. Okay, got it. Okay, those are my questions. Thank you so much, Jim, for your time.
All right. Thanks, Truth. See ya. I saw Bob Marley on there. I think Bob Marley's birthday was 2 days ago. I don't know why the Yardies didn't remind me. One love, everybody. Come on now. Where are my Yardies? They all forgot Bob Marley's birthday. I don't know. I was thinking about Donna when that popped up on my Amazon Echo. Jedi is here. Hello.
Hey, Jim. How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. So I have a quick question, if you don't mind. So I am applying for EB2 NIW, and my name's on my bachelor's certificate just shows my first name and my middle name. And on my master's certificate, which I got here in the US, shows my first name, my middle name, and my last name. So do you think I need an affidavit for that when applying for EB2 NIW?
No, I don't think anyone's going to care about that one.
Okay, perfect. Then my other question will be, in my application, do you think having my mailing address different from my physical address, can that be an issue as well?
I don't understand what you're asking me.
So when I'm applying for EB2 NIW, if my physical address is different from my mailing address, do you think that can be an issue?
No, people do it all the time.
Okay, good. All right. Another question is, when I'm doing my adjustment of status, is it a must my wife's physical address be the same as my address?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Last question. So do you think it's a violation for a student to have a YouTube channel? Is it a violation of your F1 visa status if you have a YouTube channel in the US?
Do they have their revenue turned on, like they're making money off it?
No.
So there's no ads revenue coming in.
No revenue coming in.
Yeah, then I would argue. I mean, it's always going to be something you're going to have to argue when you try to get an H-1B or try to get a green card. But I would say that's not employment, so I would say that's okay. I would take on that fight.
Okay, perfect. So just to make sure that my middle name on my certificate, my first name and my middle name,
Nobody cares about that. As long as you, nobody cares.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Jim, and have a great
Thanks,
day.
Jedi. See you, buddy. All right. Hey, Lizzie, I was thinking about that thing you sent me. I think let's just go do it. Let's do it that last. Oh wait, am I out of town? No. Lizzie, I think we'll do it that last Sunday in February. I think I will check and I'll email you in a little bit. Simon, hello. Simon, are you there? You're on mute, Simon. We can't hear you. Oh, Simon's out of here. Chris, if you turn off your camera, I will pull you up next. All right, we'll come back to Chris. Let's go to Coco. Coco, hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
First and foremost, congratulations for your over 100K subscribers.
Thanks. That was pretty exciting, huh?
Exactly. It's always a good feeling. Let me dive into my question real quick. I know you've said it, I've seen it in one of your videos where you say in case you've been apprehended by the ICE, you don't have to say anything, disclose your identity or your status. And at this point in time, you have your identifications in your pocket and you're apprehended and you're being taken in. I assume you're going to be searched and all documentation or whatever, say in your wallet, they're still going to find out who you are.
Yeah. So I am generally a believer in staying silent. I wouldn't talk anything about the merits other than there's only two things I would do. I would identify who I am, and I would demonstrate that I've been in the United States for more than 2 years so they can't expeditedly remove you. That's all.
So, but they're actually going to go through your documentations in your wallet because you still have to go around with whatever documentation you still have.
Yep.
So in that situation, you'll still be fine.
Well, you'll still be fine is a pretty broad statement. What depends on what you mean is fine. Fine is you're not getting deported. Fine is you're getting detained. Fine is you're getting released. What do you mean? It's too hard to say.
Because you still have a pending case. You still have a pending case at this point in time.
Yeah, but it depends what kind of case it is. What kind of case are you talking about?
Marriage-based case, adjustment of status.
Okay, good. This is what I like it when we get meat of it instead of talking in hypotheticals. So let's talk about the beneficiary. When did they enter the United States?
I think that was sometimes in 2023. 2023.
So I guess then that comes to me more than 2 years ago or less than 2 years ago?
More than 2 years ago. Oh no, 2022. 222.
Okay, so they've been here more than 2 years. Okay.
Yes.
So if I were such a so I was out of status when I married a U.S. citizen. Is that what you're saying?
No, he was in status.
Oh, and it's just been pending.
Yes.
Why has it been pending so long?
And what happened was that he was actually going through the documentation because they've actually requested for the medical records, and I think when he was going through his own files to find out all the details he gave, I'm actually thinking right now he must have omitted his A number from the medical records. Could that be a reason for a delay or something, or is that going to affect anything?
Where's my brother from?
Ghana.
Okay, so I got a guy from Ghana who came to the United States on a visit visa. Is that right?
Correct.
In 2022, right?
Correct.
And sometime during those 6 months, the initial 6 months, he married a U.S. citizen?
Correct.
And the U.S. citizen filed an I-130 and a 485 for that person?
Correct.
So that would have been in like the fall of 2022?
Correct.
Was this fellow from Ghana ever married back home in Ghana?
No.
When this person got his visit visa to the United States, did he tell the embassy that he was married?
No.
Why did they give him a visit visa? What was the purpose of the visit?
It was a tourist visa, I think B1, B2.
But what was the purpose of the visit?
Tourism, coming over to see places in the States.
Okay. So how did this person meet the U.S. citizen that sponsored him?
They met in a church.
How long after he arrived did they meet in a church?
That was a month after he arrived.
So a month after he arrives, he meets the person that he ends up marrying.
Correct.
And he gets married in those, he gets married in those next 5 months because he gets married before his visa's up.
Yes, he got married, 5 months after that.
And so this fellow has the receipt notices for the I-130 and the 485, right?
Correct.
Okay. Why did he get married so quickly?
Fall in love. They met each other and actually things happen so fast.
Okay. Well, you understand that they would be suspicious of that, right? That they got married so quickly.
Okay.
All right. So now this fellow is walking around here in 2025 and he's wondering what paperwork should he carry with him in case he encounters ICE, right?
Yes, sir.
So if I were that person, I would have a color copy of my passport, of my I-94 that shows when I entered. I would show anything else that shows that he's been here, like if he's been working or documentation of a lease or anything showing that he's been here for a long time. I would have the receipt notices for the I-130 and the 45, and I would keep that with me all the time.
Okay.
Did this fellow fill out the paperwork for the DS-160 for the visit visa himself, or did someone else fill it out for him?
He did it himself.
So he's 100% sure that he did not put down that he was married.
Nope.
I doubt it. They don't give visit visas for single people, usually of a marrying age. Any other questions?
No, sir. That'll be it.
All right. Good luck, Coco.
I appreciate your time.
See you, buddy. All right. All right. Chris, again, if you turn off your camera, I will pull you up next, but your camera is still on, so I can't pull you up. There you go. All right. Chris is here. Hello.
Hello, how you doing?
Great.
Thank you for doing this. Sometimes you just need a few questions to help sort things out.
Awesome.
I'm the U.S. citizen, married to a Belizean woman. Came in the U.S. February 23. We're now on overstay with her visa. It was a B1 or B2 tourist visa. It did get extended. Some complications we had with an attorney that filed the papers. We didn't get notified of any of that information.
Wait, let's slow down a little bit. Let's slow down a couple things. Number one, I just want to give a shout out to Belize. This next segment is sponsored by the Belize Board of Tourism. Belize is great. We went to Belize this year or last year. I absolutely loved it. It was lots of fun. Thanks, Heen. I'll get the TikTok questions in a minute. Belize is great. Okay, so she entered on a visit visa, right?
Yes, sir.
And when she came to the United States, did she move in with you right away, or did she stay somewhere else?
We actually, yeah, we were together. We've been together for 4 years, and we were on her tourist visa. We were traveling back and forth to Belize. My business is in Belize, and we were back and forth sometimes as much as twice a month.
Okay. When in there did you get married? Were you married when she entered on the visit visa, or did you get married after she arrived?
Our last entry after our last entry is when we got married in Florida.
Perfect. When was the last entry, and what's the date of the marriage?
Oh boy, I'd get in trouble for this.
Yes, you will.
February. The entry. The entry is February of 23. The marriage, I believe, is August of 24.
Okay, so she was here for a good long while without you getting married.
Yeah, and we were, and my gut feeling was the marriage was like, hold on to that until we figure out how all this is going to process. But it's her religion. It's her religion that she wanted to be married. The attorney we were dealing with said, it's up to you guys. It's not going to affect anything.
He said, what's up? The attorney said, what's up to you guys? I don't understand.
The marriage, whether to go ahead and marry here. I mean, we did a small ceremony, basically a courtroom thing, to be married here legally. But in her heart, it's not. She still wants to do it in her country with family members.
Okay. So you get married in the United States in the fall of 2024. So she's out of status when you get married. And then you filed an I-130 and a 485 for her?
We haven't done it yet because that's been our holdup all along. I mean, we were capable very early at any time to do it, but we didn't because I need a co-sponsor.
Dude, this is ridiculous.
I need a co-sponsor. I know that's the problem with delays.
Why do you need a co-sponsor if you have a business in Belize? Are you not making any money?
Just the first attorney we dealt with said that none of that applies. Another attorney I spoke with said the same thing.
None of that applies. What do you mean none of that applies? You mean you're not paying taxes on money that you're making in Belize? Is that what you mean?
In Belize, but they both told me that it don't apply to show our financial status in the U.S. So, and I don't have a tax background here because I've pretty much been abroad full time for the past 10 years. So I'm under the belief that we need a co-sponsor, and now that Trump has moved in position, I don't know how big of a mess this is going to be.
Does your wife ever go to the grocery store?
Yeah.
What if she got pulled over at the grocery store right now and got put into deportation because you haven't done anything?
Well, we're eager to do whatever we can do, but yeah, she's nervous now about it. I mean, we are in an area of the state that's got a lot of farming, and so the people are practically talking to each other about, they feel like they're hiding now. Although,
the sad thing is those people don't have any avenues of relief. She has a very clear avenue of relief.
We do.
Have you talked to an accountant about the fact that you haven't been paying taxes in the United States for the last 10 years? Do you know if that's actually the right thing to be doing?
I talked to one. He was real short with me and quick. I've got an appointment with another financial attorney.
Well, let me ask
They
you
were
this.
just telling me because of the $30,000 income criteria. The first one was like, I can just backdate some paperwork and make it look like you made 30,000, and you're gonna have to catch up all that tax money.
Okay.
And that just sounded shady to me. It could be another big problem.
I would agree. That is shady, and I'm glad you didn't do that. And I'm glad you called me instead. Okay. So are you ready?
Yeah.
This is what needs to happen. So just as we sit here, so I understand, you've actually not filed tax returns for the last 3 years.
Correct.
Okay. So you will never be able to sponsor her for a green card if you don't file your taxes for at least the last 3 years. Because even if you get a co-sponsor, they still, as a matter of enforcement, to make sure that Americans submit their taxes, one of the ways they do that is require the petitioner, the spouse, to file their taxes. So if you don't file a tax return for the last 3 years, you cannot get your wife a green card. So
Okay.
you have no choice but to deal with the tax part of this. Okay. And then, and as far as I'm concerned, it has to be completely straight. I don't want anybody cooking books to make it look like you made 30,000. I want you to pay taxes on what you actually owe and have those tax returns on file. Otherwise, she's never getting a green card. Right?
I was thinking that too, to go back like 2022. There's a small amount. Don't just appear with a big amount. Put accurate numbers that it's built, even though it's below the limit. Build that history again within the last few years until I get it.
That's not what I would do. Again, but you need two experts right now, Chris. You need an immigration lawyer expert, and you need a tax attorney or a CPA expert, right?
Yes.
And they sort of have to work in tandem. So
right.
Again, I want you to pay the taxes that you're actually owed, and I want your documentation to be 100% accurate, right? So I'm not like that other person who said, just show that you made 30,000 and I don't care about the rest, right?
Right.
Okay. So we have to deal with that, and we have to deal with it quickly because we got to get her case on file, right? And so then there's the immigration piece that we can help you with. If you want to email us, info@hackingimmigrationlaw.com, we can help you with getting her in status, because we need to get this stuff on the road, or you need to get out of Florida, because that's like one of the worst places to be right now.
Well, that was a follow-up question. Is there something I can do to get her in status so she feels comfortable and we take the time to get my information proper?
Well, that's a good question. And I would have to check with Amani, because she and I were talking, my wife, we were talking about this last night at dinner, because these are the kinds of things we talk about at our nerdy house for dinner. is whether or not, because they changed the rule. Now you have to have the medical done before you can file. But I think you could still file now without the taxes, without the affidavit of support, and you'd probably get a request for evidence in about 30 days. So if you could get it taken care of in 30 or 40 or 50 days, only because this is so desperate, I'd be willing to get started. I mean, there's a lot of work. It's going to take us 2 or 3 weeks to get her case ready anyway, right? So
right.
I have a great CPA here in St. Louis. They taxes are federal, so they can help all over the country. I can refer you to somebody, but we just need to get this thing moving. Okay.
Right. And I think I get the new point from you is I got to address my tax history issue, because she will never be able to get a green card if I don't put that in place.
That's exactly right. That's exactly.
Okay.
I mean, it hardly ever comes up because most people that we deal with have been filing their taxes. But like sometimes, like college students, this will come up. Like they get married and their dad or mom have been supporting them, and so they don't have 3 years of earning history. We still make them go back and file $0 tax returns. So you're right. The way that I framed it is actually the right way to frame it, which is if you don't take care of the taxes, the rest of this stuff isn't going to work.
Okay. And there is an avenue to just at least get her back in status
Yeah. Yep.
and not necessarily the co-sponsor and all the
Well, you might need a
all the
co-sponsor. I don't know. I mean, that all depends on how much you actually earned and what's taxable and what ends up being your adjusted gross income for each of the last 3 years. I don't know how much money you make, but that's all going to come down to later.
Yeah, but just in the short term, something, that's what I was looking for is
I would
there must
hustle
be
for it.
something I can apply just to get her in status so that she feels safe.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, she's not going to feel safe really until she gets her green card. But yeah, we can make her feel a whole lot more safer than she feels now.
Right.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay. Thank you.
See you, buddy. All right. Yeah, I haven't had that happen in a while. All right. Let's Hina's got me some questions from TikTok. All right. Charmarishi. Are photos, WhatsApp messages enough to prove to the USCIS that infidelity occurred? Maybe, might be. I don't know. I would never send those to USCIS, so I don't really know. Can military parole in place save someone in deportation proceedings with no deportation order yet? Yes. Sarah Locke, receiving a letter stating that it's not a legally binding marriage. Does that mean that I'm not married? Well, it very well could. Depends who sent the letter and what the basis is. IDub, is there a possibility of sponsorship if you have a removal order and DUIs on your record? Yeah, but the question is, do you want to raise your hand right now? I don't think this is the best time, but we'd have to talk about it. I have a pending I-130 from just this year, but I have a pending appeal with the BIA. What's next for me? I would try to, well, it depends. I guess that means you're ordered removed and you have a pending I-130. Trump says they're not going to wait for those cases, the USCIS cases, to get adjudicated. So I don't know. You just got to stay tuned and see what happens. If an undocumented immigrant wants to fly back to Mexico, do you think they would have a problem? Like to leave permanently? Probably not. But I would probably not do that. I would drive across the border. Ajgi family. My husband has 2 misdemeanors before the age of 18. He just got a ticket for reckless driving and speeding over 40 miles an hour. He needs to appear in court, and that's a misdemeanor here in Illinois. I'm asking if he's going to get caught by ICE. He does have a PIP because I'm a veteran, and we're in the process of getting his green card. That's something that's way too complex for me to be able to give you advice over TikTok. I'd have to dig in on everything. He should not be proceeding without a lawyer. And because of the Lake and Riley Act, they might refer him to the immigration court. So I would say, yes, there's a chance he could get caught by ICE. Can you show military parole in place, I-94, to ICE if they ask? Sure, you can. Cooley says, can I travel using travel authorization while having a pending 45? I did not overstay. I'm telling everybody right now who doesn't have a green card or a U.S. citizenship to not travel for the first 6 months of the Trump administration. The Godfather, can I get my green card if I worked without an F1, worked without permission under an F1 visa, but married to a U.S. citizen and went to school? Yes, you can, Godfather. That is possible. All right, everybody. Probably not going to do a show this weekend. Probably that's it for this week. We might do a show, or we will do a show on Monday. Let's see what we got scheduled for Monday. Oh, that's Amani's birthday. Oh, I don't have a show scheduled, but let's do one. Oh yeah, there it is, 11:30. 11:30 on Monday. We'll be back to take your questions. Remember, the waiting room is filling out more and more. So if you want to get in the waiting room to ask us a question, you should text the word SHOW, SHOW, to 314-470-3300. That way you'll get alerted whenever I am about to go live. But like I said, we'll be back on Monday. Have a great weekend. Go Eagles, fly, birds fly. No Chiefs, boo hoo. All right, we'll see. I think the Chiefs are going to win though. Bye guys.
I'm great about that, other than trying to help people who are in the state of being